Welcome to Tiger Wolf. I'm Josh, and this is David.
Please be aware, this podcast contains strong language and spoilers.
What the fuck, David? Did you see this shit?
Yeah, I did. I understand the point of it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm not arguing with the point of it. I'm arguing with the... What's the word? Feasibility? The practice of it?
The practical implementation.
You just call me a pleb?
Sure, we'll go with it. Look, one of the biggest issues with COPPA.
Hold on. Let's introduce the episode first. This is HUD. I don't think we've actually thought of what the acronym stands for right now. So,
F, I think. Heads up.
Shut up. We don't have any. Don't listen to him. We don't have anything official because we never wrote it down. Anyway, this is HUD for the COPPA stuff that's going around involving
Everywhere.
YouTubers. Well, everywhere, yes, but it's primarily currently going to be affecting YouTubers, and I'm sure it's going to be coming out further beyond that. It seems like all of the sudden the FTC went, oh wait, we should do something. And while pointing fingers doesn't solve anything, YouTube kind of fucked its creators.
Okay, let's start from the top. What is COPPA?
COPPA is, hold on, let me pull up the thing where it says the actual verbatim thing. Children's Online
Privacy.
Takes two. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act.
Okay. It was originally written in 1998 and put into
1998, when the internet started to exist.
In 2000. So this is a 19, as far as, the time frame it's been in effect, a 19-year-old federal legislation that has seen very little future-proofing.
Well, I mean, you can say that, but honestly, because it was written in 98, this is a 21-year-old. Right?
He's doing math.
19. Yeah, 21 years. This legislation is old enough to drink. Yeah. And while lots of legislation that doesn't really affect technology changes way too quickly for this to be okay. I'm not saying
it has had a few amendments over the years.
The purpose of it is solid. I believe in it. I believe it should be more than just kids for some of the things that they're listing here, to be perfectly honest.
Carry on a conversation with someone next to your phone, and then your Facebook feed suddenly popping up with ads related to what you were talking about?
Technically, there's an agreement to that in the terms of service and whatnot, and their privacy stuff. Just nobody reads it.
Yeah,
which honestly I think is it's in and of itself a problem. But what I was actually referring to was just the fact that in the U.S. our privacy laws are weak. They're weak compared to, for example, the new ones that rolled out recently for not the UK, but the EU.
One of the reasons
I had because of work, I had to take some
classes,
online class things for it, and it's it's privacy protection in more than the sense of protecting your current information from leaking. It's privacy protection from your information needs to be up to date and accurate as well.
Yeah. One of the issues that's privacy protection is so lackluster here in the States is, well, let's be honest, it was another legislation that was passed in the early 2000s called the Patriot Act. which allows the government literally to do whatever they want.
I don't know why you're bleeping yourself now. I started with what the fuck.
I don't know. They can literally pull your phone records. They can demand your internet searches. They can.
Don't they need probable cause for that still?
The Patriot Act makes them not need it.
Is it still?
If they can use.
Why is the Patriot Act still a thing? Like, that was in response to
9/11.
The, knee jerk.
It was the
knee jerk reaction. Actually, it was.
It was the.
Hold on. It was legislation. It was legislative creators capitalizing on the knee jerk reaction of its citizens.
Mm-hmm. But we could dig. There's a lot of things about 9/11 we could dig into, but we're not a conspiracy show. So, moving on.
Yet. If David had his way, we'd be there soon.
But so, all right. The main thing COPPA is genuinely supposed to do is it's supposed to protect the privacy of information of individuals 13 years and younger.
No, under 13.
Oh, it's just under 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
13 is
13 and under.
13 is when you're I know, religiously considered an adult. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it says everything says under 13, under 13, under 13.
Okay, yeah. Now
so here's one of the very first things that's like that it's about. And that is children under 13, while they can legally give out their personal information with their parents' permission, many websites, particularly social media, and in other stuff, obviously, disallow children under 13 from using their services altogether due to the cost involved for compliance. Now, when they say disallow, what they mean is they technically say that if you're under 13, you can't sign up.
Yeah.
I've signed up for many of these services and do not remember it saying that when I was signing up. I think it's in the terms and services that you agree to, which is probably a thing that like nobody ever actually clicks
I'll be
on.
honest,
I skimmed them.
The only one that I can think of right offhand that I remember seeing.
It's Facebook, wasn't it?
No, it was YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
It was YouTube. That was the one I remember.
Well, yeah, but the problem there is YouTube also boasted that it had children all over its platform.
Yeah.
Even though it had a whole... it has its own technically separate website for kids.
Yep, YouTube Kids. But, there's a lot of issues that was going on with YouTube Kids for a while also.
Yeah.
So
I think that actually came up on one of our previous episodes.
Yeah, I believe it did.
Anyway.
So how would YouTube or any other website, like let's say if Neopets is still a thing, I don't know if it is, but
God, I hope so. Damn it, David! Now I'm gonna have to fucking start playing Neopets again.
How would they be compliant with COPPA? How are they supposed to be compliant with a 21-year-old piece of legislation? I'm going to keep reiterating that.
Like, are you talking about this list here we have? Are you implying that you want me to read from this list here?
Take a few pics.
Okay. So post clear and comprehensive online privacy policy describing their information practices for personal information collected online from persons under age 13. They can't even do that for people over age 13 very well.
Oh, they can. They just don't want to tell us.
The clear is the hard part.
They can. They just don't like to tell us what they're using, what information they're gathering and where it's going.
The clear is the hard part. Make reasonable efforts, taking into account available technology to provide direct notice to parents of the operator's practices.
That's a fucked up loophole. Because an argument the FTC will make is, well, you have an AI algorithm, don't you? You should be able to simply plug in a few numbers and la-di-di, beep, boop, bop. So that's a really shady one, personally. Now, The direct notice to parents of parents of individuals under the age of 13, sending them notices about the information. Argumentatively, yes, that would be easier. Email's a thing. But, not the point. Obtain verifiable parental consent with limited exceptions prior to any collection, use, and or disclosure of personal information from persons under the age of 13.
I'm sorry, I think I dozed off. What?
So basically, this 21-year-old piece of legislation wants
verifiable parental consent.
What do they want companies to have someone go door to door and knock? By the way, do your kids use YouTube?
No.
Consent to
So what this is compliance if you do accept kids under 13. This is for if the companies are allowing users under 13.
Okay, so
this is this is saying that
they should have
example,
someone walking around knocking on doors.
No, it's not. They should have somebody knocking around. They need to provide a form of some sort for parents to fill out to say, I'm allowing my kids to do this. And actually, if I remember right, Neopets totally had that.
I believe Neopets did.
As well as some of the other ones when I was a teenager.
What was that penguin one?
Penguin Pals. Pen Pals? No.
Maybe, no.
I think it's Penguin Pals or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They had something similar.
Mm-hmm. And especially when the issue of buying anything comes up, they're like, whoa. We got steps to do, okay?
Look, we need to know that you're old enough to use that credit card you're trying to use to purchase that,
Do you have your parents' permission to use their credit card? Yes? All right.
Okay.
Hey, I asked.
If they lied to me.
We'll probably refund the charges when they request it.
Yeah. If you're smart, you will.
Yeah, no, so remember, this is compliance for companies who are allowing 13, under 13.
Provide a reasonable means for a parent to review the personal information collected from their child and to refuse to permit any further use or maintenance. I assume that means upkeep of continual collection of insert whatever data. So, okay. That's...
So, no, it's saying that they can allow the parents to provide... They have to provide a means for the parent to say, no, stop.
Yeah, and that's what or maintenance, to maintain, to continue collecting whatever data.
Well, not even continue collect, just to continue having it.
Yeah.
So, you don't want us to have this? Okay, we have to delete it.
Yep.
And again, like I was saying, the GDPR, I think it's called, for the EU has a very similar clause in it where it's they have to verify that information's up to date. And if you request for it to be removed, they have to completely delete all of it. Everything is always in the sense of complete. So completely up to date and completed, full information for whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
Or completely removed. There's no partials. Establish and maintain reasonable procedures to protect the confidentiality, security, and integrity of personal information collected from children under age 13, blah, 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 blah. So this means that they have procedures to protect confidentiality, security, and integrity, which means that, make sure it's actual correct information.
Make sure it's very hard to get to.
Security and confidentiality, for that matter.
Such and such kid is 13. They live in this city, in this neighborhood.
And the second part of it that I blot over is to make sure that anybody they disclose this information to is also capable of keeping it confidential and secure. Though I imagine they wouldn't legally be able to disclose it to anybody without parental consent.
Yeah.
Which I would assume is I don't know. I got nothing for that, actually. Well, I realized where I was going to go with that didn't make any sense because kids can't own credit cards. Retain personal information collected online from a child for only as long as is necessary to fulfill the purpose for which it was collected. And delete the information using reasonable measures to protect against its unauthorized access or use. Since this was written in 1998, I assume they mean file shredder.
Probably. I mean, at least it does say using reasonable.
I mean,
Taking down a few servers, might be reasonable measures.
well, this is what I'm thinking, right? Like, what does reasonable mean? Because, like, do you consider it reasonable that they would have to pull the hard drives with this information and punch them? I don't know if you know what that means. Do you know what that means? Well, you guys out there might not know. So when you punch a hard drive, it literally means breaking the disk with a hard drive puncher that just... It just puts a fucking hole through the hard drive, the whole encasement. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw that. I saw it working security.
Yeah, so did I. Another favorite some places like to use as far as security goes is if their puncher is broken, they literally take a sledgehammer to the hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, basically, as soon
do irreparable damage.
As soon as that disk is dismounted from, it's basically unusable. Mm-hmm. To get it back in working order, especially if you are actually punching it or something like that, is damn near impossible.
Yep.
Not where you would actually be able to collect the data from it accurately.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. It wouldn't be worth the work put into it, because the way they're manufactured and have to manufactured in that way, kind of. And that's only if the disk is in complete working order and just removed from its mounted thing.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be all of them because hard drive's not just one disk.
No, it's a layered set for remember.
I don't know how that works for solid state though. Because I know you can write. I know you can write over stuff in solid state. I believe that means it's fucking gone forever.
It seems like it would be. But I don't know.
As long as all the same bits are written over. But like, is that what we're putting in the sense of reasonable? Or are we just talking about a file shredding program? Or are we just talking about delete and overwrite? I feel like at least file shredding.
I would.
But do you know what that does to a hard drive for life?
I would feel going the full length is reasonable if it's in protecting information involving children.
Oh, actually, I did just get an idea for the disclose and maintain for where you share it, like where you disclose it to and that.
Yeah.
It'd be like Neopets with if they use a third-party service for their servers. Mm-hmm. They would have to have that. Make sure that the third-party service was the right level of confidential and secure for stuff. I mean, they're going to want to do that anyway because you want to do that for just if you have any kind of membership thing, which is collecting information about people, even if it's just like a password.
Yeah.
Which, if you are doing it proper to secure standards, you don't actually ever store a password.
Unlike Facebook, which had hundreds of passwords
the practice
on a dock.
Like, in the last 10 years, it's become more of a practice to not actually store a password, but you're still you're storing the password hash or seed or whatever terminology you want to use for it.
Yeah.
Which can technically be decoded, but reverse engineering hashes is difficult until somebody, makes a program that can do it automatically, which does happen. I think the older hashes that used to be used has happened with, but the newer stuff is it's becoming even more impossible to reverse engineer. This is why I don't really want to get into data security. Because this is a headache. According to... This is where we're at? Or are we on operators? Operators are prohibited from conditioning a child's participation in online activity on the child providing more information that is reasonably necessary to participate in that activity. I.e., you don't need the kid's name so that they can... Or their age. Well, I guess you need to know their age.
You don't need the kid's address.
You don't need the kid's address. You don't need the kid's height. You know what I mean? You don't need necessarily the kid's gender for a lot of activities for what is online stuff. You want to grab the last one, the second to last one?
According to a notice issued by the FTC, an operator has actual knowledge of the user's age. If the site or services ask for and receives information from the user that allows it to determine the person's age, an example cited by the FTC includes an operator who asks for a date of birth on a site's registration page has actual knowledge as defined by COPPA if the user responds with a year that suggests they are under the age of 13. Another example cited by the FTC is that an operator may have actual knowledge based on answers of age identification questions such as what grade are you in or what type of school do you go to? A, elementary, B, middle, C, high school, D, college. All of those are very, very specifically American.
Well, yeah, this is an American legislation.
This applies to companies that...
Any company that deals in the U.S., I know.
Is based in the U.S., regardless of whether or not they are collecting information on individuals outside of the U.S.
Yes, but this would also apply to any company that is not based in the U.S. that operates in that is accessible in the U.S.
So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Internet legislation is hard. Just conceivably, you're talking about not only your country's policies,
other countries' policies,
but you have to consider other countries' companies are going to be operating within your country via the internet. Then this they're going to have to conform to these too.
Yep,
which is on them to do. But at the same time, that
was one of the issues with YouTube again having an argument towards the EU's Article 13 and Article 17. In the where literally if someone it deals with the whole copyright infringement thing, a few seconds of audio, you can be hit.
So we've spent the last 20 minutes on just pure information dump. We should probably talk about this some too.
I mean, we've been talking about it while we're going down.
Well, I would say so, for example, what I was talking about internet legislation and just even privacy concerns. That again, the GDPR that I learned about. I live and work in the U.S. I work for a company who has a client that has a partition in Europe, in UK specifically, I believe. So that's why I had to learn about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
But we also want to talk about the effects. So
I've seen this pop up a couple of times with a couple of different YouTubers that I watch that they've talked about it.
Same.
One of them being Philip DeFranco, who does a lot of news stories, things like that. And the most recent one was Game Theory's Matt Pat.
The one that hit me the most, I didn't actually watch it all the way through, but seeing it come up in my feed, and I watched a little bit of the beginning of it this morning, was Brizzy Voices, because I know she's a smaller YouTuber, but I know this exactly fits in to her content as an issue.
No.
Because she does voices of characters. and she's literally done like all of the original Pokemon before. She's done like any Disney character.
Yeah.
You know, amongst other things. I think she does like some other animated stuff and everything for like she mimics their voices. She also does actual voice acting. She's recently ish gotten some parts in that, which is fantastic, and I'm happy for her. But this could really, really fuck her up.
Yeah.
Like if they decide to hit her, I know that if we're talking not even full max fine per every video she has, because it'd be pretty much every video, it would financially ruin her. Like,
yeah. So the max fine is up to $42,000
per video, per offense.
Per infringement, or not infringement, but
offense.
So, what? Like, that is when I had a stable job. That was literally a year's salary.
You're getting paid that much?
Technically, it was like less than that, but roughly a year's worth of a salary.
Because that's like up until kind of recently, and partly because of all the overtime I get, 2 of my years of work, like near it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm like I don't really fear for us so much as because we don't make any money off of this stuff yet. But you can help with that. Tell your friends. Get us noticed. But I think that like I'm kind of scared for some of the YouTubers that I watch and enjoy. Like Matt Pat or Brizzy Voices, or even people like Jacksepticeye and whatnot. Like,
it's the desired effect for COPPA is admirable, and it's something that needs to be focused on. The implementation of a 21-year-old piece of legislation.
It's not implementation. That's like the beginning of something.
Probably needs to be updated.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we only got into like the compliance and the overall meaning of it, but I mean, not to advertise somebody else's thing, but if you go watch Matt Pat's video, he gets into the fact that like the way that parts of the way that you can like be compliant on this is facsimile or mail forms and stuff like that, and it's just like it needs to be updated. I'm not saying it would really change the situation, but like we're also talking about a situation where it's so there's no clear cut yes or no. This is like just because content's not made for kids doesn't mean kids aren't going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
and the problem there is that yes, technically YouTube does not allow anyone under 13 on their platform. However, they went around boasting that they do.
When I worked retail, if a kid wanted to buy a M-rated video game, okay? This is a very specific story. This kid wanted to get a Call of Duty. He was 16. His mom is like, no, you're not getting it. I'm not letting you. When we get home, you're going to go read a book. And that book is the Bible.
I mean, legally speaking, if he had the money, he could purchase that.
Hold on.
Because he's old enough to. Right?
No, 17 is the legal age. He was 16. He was
How was 17 the legal? Like, what?
For like Call of Duty, any M-rated game, you have to be at least 17 years of age.
I didn't know the rating. Sorry.
Yeah. Here's where it gets fucked up. That's for a video game. The mother puts down a book in front of me that her 7-year-old daughter had just brought to her.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm going to get this for my daughter. And, I need the earbuds and whatnot. I looked down at the book and I said to her, Miss, I cannot legally tell you can't buy this for your daughter because there is no age gating for books. But do you really think it's a good idea to buy 50 Shades of Grey for your 7-year-old?
Well, that's the... Careful on the mic there, David. Well, that's just like the people's perception of things.
Her response was, I don't know
that.
what it's about. It's just, I've heard a bunch of my friends say it's a really good book. So I proceeded to make sure she understood exactly what that book was about. As loud as I possibly could.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, to be fair, she was ignorant to it. Whereas Call of Duty,
she was telling her son she's going to have to read a book about incest, genocide, human sacrifices.
Well, to be fair, God said stop. God said stop before he did it, didn't he?
Yes, with Abraham. But only with Abraham.
Well, the rest aren't human sacrifices. Those are punishment.
You don't get to call some sort of moral high ground because you read a book about that stuff.
Well, let's not get into religion here, David. We can do that in a different show that we want nobody to watch, to listen to.
My point is, she had
the point. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but the fact was she was just ignorant, and 50 Shades of like the book doesn't like blatantly state it on it anywhere or show it. I should say show it. Whereas Call of Duty shows it on there. It has a rating that says, boom, this is for mature people. And it also has imagery of what that mature content's going to be like.
Yeah.
So to like for...
But if you flip over the back of the book, it has a brief description of what the story's about. Including, but not limited to, it is literally a book about a businessman and his secretary's sexual relations
we don't need
with
to get,
bondage.
This isn't the point. You're getting off the point, David. And we're past our time, so we need to get to the point. No, I understand what you're saying. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying that she's like... I'm sure after learning that, she rethought the way she's going to handle that type of situation. I would like my...
Would you like to her know her response?
No, I don't care. I don't care what her response was. My point is I want to believe in people enough to say that she should have reevaluated her stances on things. But at the same time, people do have this kind of mentality, especially older people who don't really understand the purpose of video games or anything like that, which is basically...
I'm not saying it.
Which is basically the same as a book, just different. Like the acquisition of information is different. With our eyes and ears instead of our...
just our eyes.
Just our eyes and our mind. And tactile. But anyway. Hold on, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, right. So what we're looking at is people look at books as being a better situation in general than like video games or something like that. And I think that that's the crux of that situation. But what we're looking at is not that situation. We're looking at the COPPA situation with YouTube and that. And I think that it definitely needs to be reevaluated. And I feel like that's where this is going to end up, right? Is not just that it's going to be the situation's just going to happen and then people are going to move on worrying about what every video they put up is going to be costing them $42,000 or not. I feel like that the inevitable conclusion to this has got to be a reevaluation of how these laws are handled, because we need clear guidelines on what is and isn't acceptable. Otherwise, it is just a fucking guessing game, and nobody wants that. I'm sure even the FTC doesn't want that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the FTC does want that because that means more money for them.
Well, no, it means they can pick and choose who they want to fine.
Yeah. Small guys, you're fucked. Big guys,
No,
you're fucked just a little bit less.
No, I feel like it'd be the other way around. Like they'd want to go after, they want to get the most money out of the people who have the most money. Otherwise, you're just ruining somebody's life and not even getting that much money out of it.
That sounds like the government.
Okay, so both.
Well, I suppose that's the end of the episode.
Please like, comment, follow, and share. And also, more importantly, thank you for listening.
Take care.
Bye.